happiness is not what you think it is. Studies show that no matter what we achieve, our brains quickly adjust and demand more. A treadmill with no finish line. Maybe that's why Jim Carrey warned us. I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of, so they can see it's not the answer. And yet, most of us still believe the next promotion, the next trip, the next house will finally quiet the storm inside. But what if contentment, the quiet, steady kind, was never waiting at the top of the mountain? What if it's been sitting with us in the messy, imperfect climb all along? So, let me tell you a story. My own messy, unfinished, beautifully imperfect journey of how I stumbled upon something more lasting than happiness: contentment. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. The room is dark, quiet, except for the pale glow from my phone. I scroll through Instagram, hypnotized by endless motivational clips. Each video promises success, freedom, joy. People laugh on sunlit beaches, sip champagne in private jets, post smiling selfies from exotic corners of the world. But instead of inspiration, a familiar hollowness grows inside me. My mind whispers cruelly, "You're not good enough. You'll never catch up." And it wasn't just me. According to new research, heavy social media use is directly linked to higher stress, anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Psychologist Jasmine Fardouli explained it well. People are comparing their appearance to images, or whatever platform they're on, and they often judge themselves to be worse off. I felt that deeply. Every scroll was another reminder of what I didn't have: a bigger apartment, more travel stamps, a more polished life. One morning, as the night dissolved into dawn, a thought hit me like a quiet lightning bolt. Maybe I've been measuring myself against an illusion. I sat back, coffee in hand, watching the fog lift over the countryside, and whispered to myself, what if it's okay not to have a perfect life? But you know what really surprised me? This wasn't just my personal problem. Did you know the average person now spends nearly 2.5 hours per day on social media? Which means thousands of little comparisons. Subtle, corrosive messages that we're not enough. Studies show that even short bursts of scrolling can lower mood and self-worth. Psychologists call this the comparison trap, and it works like quicksand. The more we sink into it, the harder it is to climb out. But here's the paradox. Most of those perfect moments we envy are staged, filtered, or fleeting. A smiling couple might have argued just before the photo. That luxury vacation might be financed on debt. We compare our raw behind the scenes with someone else's polished highlight reel, and of course we lose. And so the cycle repeats. The more we consume, the emptier we feel. Until perhaps one day we pause, just long enough to wonder if we've been measuring life by the wrong yardstick. That whisper stayed with me, because when you strip life down to its core, here's the truth: we're humans. We want what we want. We're happy when good things happen, unhappy when they don't. But no matter which way we turn, life flips the coin. This isn't cynicism. It's reality. Life shifts, shocks, and detours whether we like it or not. And if we wait for life to match our expectations before we allow ourselves to be at peace, we'll always be disappointed. That's why happiness often feels slippery. It bursts hot and fast, then disappears. Like joy at a birthday surprise or excitement when the bonus hits your account. Beautiful, yes, but fleeting. Contentment, though, is different. It's cool, steady, refreshing, like a river that keeps flowing whether the day is sunny or stormy. It's not built on conditions. It doesn't depend on the perfect house, the perfect body, or the perfect timeline. It's a way of being, available, even in imperfection. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill, our tendency to return to a baseline of satisfaction no matter what highs or lows we experience. That's why winning the lottery doesn't guarantee long-term happiness, and why setbacks over time don't always break us. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And in that shift lies the seed of contentment." Even ancient traditions understood this long before psychology gave it a name. The Stoics, for example, believe that peace comes not from controlling the world, but from mastering our response to it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In Buddhism, impermanence or anicca is the central truth. Joy fades, sorrow passes, and everything is in motion. To resist this is to suffer. To accept it is to be free. Modern science agrees. Researchers at UC Berkeley found that while happiness spikes are tied to external rewards, contentment lights up the brain's networks associated with calm and long-term well-being. In other words, happiness is a spark, contentment is the fireplace. So, maybe the task isn't to chase happiness like a fleeting bird, but to build a nest where contentment can live, even when storms pass overhead. But knowing all of this in theory is one thing, living it is another. I remember when one of my friend's articles went viral. It racked up thousands of shares and made $1,500 overnight. For years, he thought that moment would be the it moment, proof he was worthy. But when it came, the high lasted a heartbeat. Then emptiness crept back in. It reminded me of climbing a mountain. The summit feels glorious, the air crisp, the view sweeping, but soon your eyes wander to another peak in the distance, whispering, "Climb me, then you'll really be happy." I realized maybe fulfillment isn't at the top at all. Maybe it's in the climb. That realization took root during an ordinary evening. I was cooking dinner with my girlfriend in our tiny, imperfect kitchen. She tasted the risotto and smiled. "Zach, this is delicious." Her warmth pulled me back to simpler times. My father teaching me the same dish, joking that I'd be the best chef in town if risotto was the only thing on the menu. That memory filled the room more than any paycheck or passport stamp ever could. And in that cluttered kitchen, surrounded by love and laughter, I felt something I hadn't in years: contentment. Not fireworks, not a high, just a steady warmth that whispered, "This is enough. You are enough." Looking back, I think of that night as the peak of my life, the quiet pivot from chasing perfection to embracing imperfection. It made me wonder, why do the simplest moments often carry the deepest weight? Psychologists studying ordinary magic suggest that joy doesn't live in rare, grand experiences, but in small daily rituals: a shared meal, a walk at dusk, the smell of fresh coffee. These rituals remind us that presence is more powerful than achievement. When I think of my father's joke about risotto, I realize he was teaching me something profound without meaning to: that life doesn't need an endless menu of delights to feel whole. Sometimes one simple dish made with love is enough. Maybe that's what contentment is: not variety, not perfection, but depth in the ordinary. Contentment isn't a final destination. It's a practice, almost like a craft. In Japan, there's a tradition called kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted, because the break is part of the story and the repair makes the object more beautiful than before. What if our imperfect lives are the same? This is why the pursuit of perfect happiness can be so dangerous. Books, gurus, social media feeds, they'll all promise transformation, as if joy can be permanently unlocked like a hidden level in a game. But the truth? There's no pill, no instant fix. A contented life is simple and thoughtful, with a touch of humor, because it knows that taking everything too seriously is its own mistake. Did you know that gratitude journaling in dozens of studies has been shown to increase long-term well-being by shifting focus away from what's missing to what's already here? Neuroscientists at Harvard found that mindfulness meditation actually changes the brain's gray matter, making us more resilient and content. One of my favorite metaphors comes from gardening. You can't force a flower to bloom by pulling at its petals. You water it, give it sunlight, protect it from storms, and trust the process. Contentment is like that, not forced but cultivated. The irony is, the more we try to achieve happiness, the more it slips away. But the more we nurture stillness, gratitude, and presence, the more it blooms naturally. even humor is part of this. A contented life sees the absurdity of trying to control what was never ours to control. As author Anne Lamott once said, "Laughter is carbonated holiness." It's a reminder not to take the inevitable too seriously, because at the end of the day, all of us are cracked pottery. And maybe, just maybe, the cracks are the most beautiful part. So now I think differently. Contentment is the quiet companion that sits beside me in the climb, in the laughter over spilled risotto, in the foggy countryside mornings, in the unremarkable but deeply human moments. Life will never be perfect, but perhaps that's the point. Perfection isn't where we meet peace, imperfection is. So, I'll leave you with a question, my friend. What if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment to be content and allowed yourself to feel it now in the beautiful, imperfect life you already have? Because here's the truth. The moments we'll remember at the end of our lives are rarely the flawless ones. They're the evenings when the meal burned but laughter filled the room. The mornings when the fog rolled in but you sipped coffee with someone you loved. The days when nothing spectacular happened, except you were there, fully present. That is contentment. A quiet, steady gift available right now in the ordinary, imperfect life that is already yours. If you believe true contentment matters more than chasing perfect happiness, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more reflections on life, balance, and inner peace. Before you go, share a moment when you discovered contentment in something simple.